I saw that in DC, the 911 operators are what? Oh my God! Y'all don't even know what I was gonna say. What's happening? Oh my God! Trust me, this is gonna go somewhere good. Just let me do the show. Oh my God. For a split second, I was like, are y'all gonna come up here? Like this feels like the last thing Chris Rock saw before it just walked out. The 22 of you just, Wow, okay, all right. Well, 911. Or they're basically starting a program where 911 operators are going to get $800 if they go to all of their shifts, right? If they don't call out, if they don't miss a shift. And I didn't know that this was that much of a problem, right? Because when you think about it, 911 is a pretty hard job to call out of. Yeah, I mean, like if you work at 911 and you're like, hey, I can't come in today, and they're like, why? And you're like, oh, it's an emergency. It's like, oh, tell me about it. Tell me what. Like, nah, it's personal. But yeah, apparently that's been happening. Apparently there's been very, very few shifts that have been like, did you call them or something? This you were like, mm-hmm. Did something happen to you personally? Or?
It's just a frustration I have with the city. Like,
oh, okay. Oh, you just don't like it here. Like, you got a bigger thing. You got a bigger...
If I call them, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. But to be fair, when you call them, it's cause you're finna die. Like, it's... Got you. This is my thing. It's like, it's gotta be hard to a certain degree. I try to give people a little bit of grace because it's gotta be hard to like take those calls, you know? Because whenever I get an emergency call as a friend, I don't handle it well. You know what I mean? Like when my friend calls me as if I'm 911, calls me as like, oh my God, I need you to come pick me up. I need your help. Blah, blah, blah. I'm always immediately like, why'd your stupid ass go over there to begin with? Like they're clearly still in the emergency. And I'm like, see, that's why I told your dumb ass not to go over there. Because you love hanging out with them. They make you feel cool and everything. But now that somebody got popped, now you want help. So now I'm supposed to come over and get shot so I can prove I'm really your friend. Because notice you didn't call him. You called me, all right? Because you knew he wouldn't come. Now I'm sending an Uber driver over there just with a note to be like, don't wait long. Like if he doesn't get in, then he not there. So I get it. I get how it's got to be one of the hardest jobs because you're taking the emergency, but you're also powerless, right? You can send somebody the way I sent that Uber. And to be fair, you know, when 911 sends somebody, they know that they're the emergency service. My driver thought he was picking me up. My friend running up to the car. He's over here like, for Josh? He's like, yeah, whatever. You know? So it's like you're in a tough spot because you are genuinely powerless to what's happening. And you must hear just the worst stories. Just the worst things. You know what I mean? Nobody calls to chat. You know what I mean? Nobody calls 911 to be like, how's your day going? Does anybody ever ask you how you know what I mean? I will say that, okay, I'm digressing for a second, but it does make me mad. As much as we are surveilled, why when you call 911 they don't know it's you? Do you know what I mean? Like, I get so mad. Like, I've only had to call 911 a couple times in my whole life, and then they're like, 911, what's your emergency? Like, what? What are you talking about? What is my, who am I? And they're like, where are you? I called from a home phone. I called from a hard line. People don't even have those anymore. You don't know exactly where I am right now? It's like, no, we actually can't trace the call. Oh, okay. You want to come find? I'm going to kill the president. Can you find me now? Like, that's... That's insane. We can't tell where you are right now. We don't know. What? You know my whole browser history, and you don't know where I am. All right, whatever. But then, yeah, people have been calling out, so now they've started this initiative to be like, hey, maybe. And look, I don't know what 911 operators in D.C. or anywhere in the country, I don't know what they get paid. I'm sure whatever they get paid is not enough, because I'm sure that every day, no matter the situation, at least one tragic thing happens that they just have to take home with them. You know? And then you have to take the next emergency like you didn't just hear the last emergency. You know? Because nobody thinks about that. When you call 911, that person probably wants to tell you, can you give me a second? Can you give me a second? Because there was an active shooter situation, and then they just hung up. So now I'm talking to you. So I'm sorry, what's that about your chest pains again? You know? So it's got to be incredibly difficult. I understand why you wouldn't go back. I've quit jobs for far less. I think if I worked at 911 and I got a bad enough call the first, 5 calls, I'd be like, y'all, this isn't for me. I'll send money or something, but I can't. This is bad stuff. I don't have the help in my heart that I thought I had. You know what I mean? Because then also you have to, you have to not be the problem. There's a show called I Survived that I will watch sometimes with my girlfriend, and it's amazing how many times the 911 operator isn't just not helpful. They're actively contributing to the emergency, because then the person will call and be like, hey, there's somebody in the house. What? There's somebody in the house. You gotta get over here quick, because there's somebody in the house. It's not you? Somebody plus me. Is in the house. What room? I don't know what room. But they're not supposed to be in the house at all. Speak up, I can't hear you. Your voice down. Look, don't get attitude with me. You called me, all right? Don't get an attitude with me because you called me, all right? I didn't call you going, hey, how you doing? You called over here, okay? I'm sorry. Just keep your voice down. So it must be hard. It must be hard because you're trying to help and you could be hurt. Because then also you hear stories of people who were like, yeah, I called 911, but they couldn't hear me. So then they hung up. I'm like, how do you not have the good headphones? I'm talking about every 911 operator. I don't like that little thing that Halle Berry had in the movie with the little mic and the little earpiece, and it was only on one side. No wonder they can't hear anything. I want them to have the big old cover the ear, cover half the head headphones. You know, the ones that gamers have? You hear everything. When I play games, I can hear this kid's mom's footsteps in the hallway on the way to knock the controller out of his hand. Like, you can hear everything. They got them fighting. Not enough resources, not enough people. Because honestly, it's like, look, you know, we can criticize, but it's like, I really don't want to do it. You know, like, I think if people want to get it, like, really understand, I think everybody, I believe this for a lot of jobs, but I think that everybody should have to take 2 911 calls. Just because you would be like, all right, so I let both mine die. That's my bad. I didn't know how to handle it. I panicked. I just started crying while they were talking, so I didn't take in any information or anything. That's my bad. I won't criticize as much anymore. You know? $800 for all of your shifts. Just because you still get paid. And then an $800 bonus if you make it to all the shifts. I don't know. I think that maybe. Let's try it. Let's see. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know, I heard, okay, I did not know this person, but I heard a story one time from a friend when I lived in Chicago, who his cousin worked at 911, and then he called out, which I didn't even know they were allowed to do back then. I thought you had to, like, really go in every day, or they would give you a total. They'd be like, hey, listen, this is how bad the day was without you, so. As an incentive to keep you coming into work, right? But basically, you know, his boy called out, and then while he called out, and then he, okay. Y'all are gonna judge me, all right. He called out, and then he got into a car accident, right? And so he wasn't driving, his friend was driving, and it was just like, it was a fender bender, but it was like a bad one. And so then he went ahead and called just in case. And then when he called, apparently, they were like, 911, what's your emergency? And he was like, nigga, it's me. Must be tough. In Chicago, there's a lunch lady that was arrested for stealing $1.5 million worth of chicken wings. As soon as I read the headline, I was like, I have questions. How many is 1.5 million chicken wings? Because are we talking like the price of specials? You know what I mean? Because like if those are 50-cent wings, we're talking about millions of wings. No? Or these like the more expensive wings, like the nice wings that got some real girth to them. You know what I mean? Maybe they're $1 each, you know. $1.5 million worth of chicken wings. And this was basically during the pandemic. She was in charge of ordering the food, right? And so she would order the food, and she started ordering the food, but then ordering some wings on the side, right? Like any of us. And so she started a whole hustle with these wings, right? And she drove the cargo van, so it was the perfect crime. She the one ordering the food, and then she's the one picking up the food. So she was ordering the cargo vans, she was using the cargo vans after ordering the food. So she was basically taking the billing, but she was keeping the meat. No one knows where the wings are. Yet another mystery, right? Because any number of things could have happened with these wings. And I want to be clear about something. The program that she's ordering the wings for is for kids who are doing remote learning but still receiving a school lunch, right? So some of those kids, there's a chance that some of those kids went hungry off of her scheme, right? Which is sad. It's terrible. And it made me wonder what made it worth it? Getting all these wings, right? Did she have a side business? Yes. Was she going up to like a wing stop? Like, hey. Anytime somebody's a criminal, they whisper in my mind, hey. You deal in wings, I deal in wings. I got some wings outside. Fell off a truck. You don't ask any questions. You make a little more money. And then Wingstop is like, no, we're not going to take your outdoor falling off of a truck wings. No, thank you. Nah, I'm good. And then she was like, okay, all right. I already have an offer at Buffalo Wild Wings. Because I'll tell you what, I have been to some wing places in my life where you eat the wings, you're like, this been on the floor. Like, this is not good. This is no reason they charged $0.25, all right? This is bad. So maybe she was flipping them. Maybe she was going over there with cases of wings to like local restaurants, being like, hey, just go ahead, serve it to the people. They're good wings, right? If you buy wings off of her, you gotta be watching your dining room floor that night like, nobody dying, I guess it was some good wings, okay. Really made a deal. And then I had a friend point out that maybe, perhaps, she was doing some sort of Robin Hood thing where she knows, because she's been working in the system for, about a decade, that a lot of food goes to waste. Maybe she was ordering food to give some food away, which is fine. I'd like to believe that little, like, chicken wing Robin Hood type angle. You know what I mean? Like an angle where she just is out on the corner deep frying in real time, just like feeding the hungry. Get over here, burn your mouth on this, But even in that scenario, you had to take food from a kid who was already hungry. And one of the reasons they caught her is that when they were checking the budget, they saw that the district was $300,000 over budget. You gotta be more careful than that. Like she ordered all these wings, I guess in the period of like a few months, which is gonna be noticed, right? And one of the reasons they caught her is because the schools don't order chicken wings. Kind of almost feels like entrapment. It was even an option. Like that's. I wonder when they saw the order if they were like, chicken wings? Okay, we'll do our best. But they don't do chicken wings at school lunches because of the bones. Yeah, because you have dumb kids that'll eat them. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm brilliant, but I always knew not to eat a bone. I don't know why we coddling these children. Go ahead and, let the kids have some real flavor in their lives. We can't have flavor because this one kid gonna try to eat the whole thing. Oh, it's annoying. But it is crazy, because when you think about it, if she had just stuck to like chicken nuggets, she'd be running an enterprise right now. Because I'd like to believe, just me personally, that she was like a chicken wing kingpin. At 7 figures, you're doing something with those wings. See what I mean? I'd like to think that, you know, she be showing up to the drop and everything. Looks like The Wire, but it's for chicken wings. She shows up with the wings. They don't show up with the money, you know? And she's like, oh, you don't have the money? Okay. Grab them. And then 2, like, you know, 2 goons run up and grab the dude. And he's like, wait, I can pay. I swear I can pay. And then they make him put his arm in like a chicken wing, you know what I mean? Like, and then they put his arm on the hood of the car and he hit a chicken wing. He's like, no, please, don't do it, please. And then one of the goons just stomping his elbow, like just something that really hurts. They send him away, he's like, oh. Don't forget the money next time. Because when I saw her mugshot, it was crazy. Because, you know, she's a bit older. I believe she's like 66, 68 or something like that. So it's kind of odd when you see an older person in a mugshot. Because she over here looking like Deadpool's roommate. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, how you look like a lunch lady and guilty in the same picture? You could tell she had served some lunches too, just from the picture. That picture had a little sass to it, just a little like. You can tell that's how she be looking at kids when they ask for an extra pudding or something. Oh, that's tough though. They gave that woman 9 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
Right? 9 years. That feels disproportionate. You know what I mean? The state doesn't care that much about chicken wings. They don't even care about the kids that much. That's 9 years? Wow. People on Wall Street don't do a day. Like, that's 9 years. You know, I think that's too much. If it were up to me, I don't even know if I would have her really serve jail time. If it were up to me, it'd be probation, and she has to eat $1.5 million worth of chickens. Oh, we know what you having for lunch for the rest of your life, ma'am. 6 years in, she's like, I've had every sauce there is. I can't do this anymore. It is so wonderful to be here. Thank y'all so much for having me, and Happy New Year. You know, it's we're doing another New Year. It's funny. Okay, it's hard to know who to say Happy New Year to, because some people already seem like they're not having a great one. Like, you'll see somebody and be like, I'm gonna let this one go. Being here for New Year's was great. I went with my girlfriend and some friends, and we had a great time. And then it was midnight, and so a little while after midnight, about like 12:03. I don't know if you can tell from looking at me, but I'm not like fun. So 3 minutes after midnight, I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm gonna go home. And so I started walking home. And one of the wildest things about a new year is that it sneaks up on you in a way that you would think stops happening. As you get older, you're like, you're not gonna get me this time. I'm gonna be ready for you. And then it's over. And there's a whole nother year. And there's things you wish you could leave behind in the new. You didn't have time to like fix who you were for the new year. Whenever they say like new year, new me, that it's two sides of that coin. It's a new year. The year did its part. Now you have to be a new person. There's so many things you wish you could leave behind. Like, it would be great if a new year meant there were just no more bad habits. Like, the bad habits melted off. They were like 2025 things. And now in 2026, you just don't even think to do those things anymore. That's not one of your habits at all. I was walking back to the Airbnb, and I saw this guy crossing paths with me. And I was, in my head, I was like, maybe I should say Happy New Year. The year's 5 minutes old. I was even about to say it, but as I'm passing this guy, as we cross paths, I just hear this guy to himself go, no, 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 no. And holding his stomach so tight, no, 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 no. And I knew he wished he could have left it in 2025. I've been having a great time eating here because y'all forget, y'all take for granted. I don't even know everyone in here, but I know what I'm saying is true. You take for granted that your food is food. And like, your food is food. I live in the US. I live in America where the food is food shaped. One thing I will say for the food in America, it will always be the shape of food that you're expecting. And we've come out with new shapes. We have new shapes for food. You want chicken. Let's have some chicken. Great, we've made a chicken nugget for you. Okay, I'm still familiar with those. Will it be like a little clump of meat with some breading around it, grilled up, or will it be deep fried, nice and delicious? No, this one will look like a dinosaur. Is it dinosaur meat? No, it's chicken. Or at least we say it's chicken, but it's dinosaur-shaped meat. All the food will be the right shape it's supposed to be in the shape of the food that you think you're buying. But when you eat it, you're like, you got me. This isn't food. We literally have a show where we shape all manner of things and ask the question, is this cake? That should give you an indication of what the food is like. All the food here is like food. And don't get me wrong, you have your junk food. You do. You have plenty of your own junk food, and that's very cute, okay? I've had this conversation, I've even had this argument with plenty of Australians, and they'll be like, no, we have our unhealthy food. I'm like, no, that's not what I said. That's not what I was talking about. You have your junk food, which is it's a fascinating attempt at junk food. But that's like telling an American that you also have junk food is like meeting LeBron and being like, I play too. Like, you can't even begin to understand the levels of junk food we have reached. We are the king. And not to come over here and tell you that America's better at something and be a real American about it, but like we are very good at junk food. We're so good, we're dying. We're dying in droves. We can't stop dying, but we also can't stop eating because we went in the lab and we were like, they won't be able to say no to this concoction. Your food is like food. That's crazy. Full food. Like it has, like you can feel nutrients hitting. You can feel, okay, look. I know this is a bad example, but you know like when somebody does drugs on TV and then because they don't have enough time to show what actual drug use looks like, or maybe they don't want to, they make it look like drugs happen like that, like immediately, like someone does the drug and then they're like, ugh, like it's... Okay, that is what your food is like. When I'm eating it, I'm like, that is what wow. I had steak here. I had steak. And I felt like, after I ate the steak, I felt like I could fight. Not as in I was angry. I felt like I knew how. Because So much protein had gone into my body. And like actual protein, not the protein that we put out. Because in the US, we have lots of protein. We love making everything protein packed. Protein will make up for how much sugar we also put in the thing. So then we'll have protein on protein on protein. So if you eat this, that's all your protein for the day. And you want to be big and strong, don't you? And then you eat that protein, and then they'll make a commercial a couple months later where they're like, hey, did you eat this protein? We're so sorry. That was poison. That was like actual rat poison that we put in there. It was the same color as our protein mix, and so you understand how mistakes get made. But here, I was eating, wow. Whoa. In the US, we have foods that you don't have here that are like junk food, but we also have flavors that y'all don't have here because you have like laws out of self-respect. And so the law here, it'll be against the law to bring that flavor here. Someone, and I don't even know if they're here, then congratulations to you, more power to you, but I imagine they're not even here. Someone from a long time ago was like tasting things from other places, and then they were like, that's good. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's great. Yeah, bring that. And then they had some flavors from the US, and they must have died. They must have promptly died because you don't have those flavors here, and they're like illegal to bring here. But we love them in the US. A child's favorite flavor won't even be a flavor that you're thinking of. You'll think of something like spice. You might even think of a seasoning. Like, oh, paprika. A little bit of pepper. Oh, this is so good. No, I'm not. You're talking about like seasoning from food. You're used to food. It's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about flavors that you could never imagine because they don't exist in nature, because they're not real. Use your imagination. I'm talking about flavors that don't make any sense. You will talk to a child in the US and their favorite flavor is blue. I don't mean blueberry. I don't mean the natural, the hot pink but blue color that's usually just on posters for movies. That will be the color of a food, and that color has a flavor, and that will be that child's favorite flavor because they've never been introduced to food. And then, as someone from the US, as an American, you travel, and you find out that we have this horrible reputation for being like loud and boisterous, dumb stuff. And I don't care where you're from, everyone has at least some shred of national pride where they want to be like, no, we are not. I am not the worst of us that you may have met, right? Everyone has that thing. And so you're inclined, when you hear these rumors about the US, you're inclined to be like, no, I read all the time. I read, and I'm perfectly easy to get along with and everything. What would make you think that we're What would make you think that we're this way? And then they'll tell you a story that once you hear it, you can tell that they're telling the truth. They'll tell you a story that breaks your heart a little bit. They'll tell you about meeting like a nice American family that actually were, well-behaved, perfectly pleasant people, but they seemed a bit dumb. And you're like, why are you judging them? That's a prejudice that you think they're dumb. And then they'll tell you, oh, well, we had a conversation and, the mom and the dad were perfectly nice people, but then we turned and, the child was trying to get his mom's attention and we said hello and he said hello. And then, they were talking and the kid was looking up and saying, mommy, can I have something? And then we asked the kid, oh, yes, what would you like? What's your favorite? And the child was like, my favorite flavor is blue. And as soon as you hear that, you're like, yep, that definitely happened. That 100% happened. We make attempts at food. We still have the fruits and vegetables for sale in the US. They're there. You can buy, if you went, you could buy them. You would see them there. And you would even think, oh, this is just, you would walk in to a grocery store and you'd be like, this is just like a Kohl's. Look, it's basically a Woolworths. And then you'll bring the produce home and you'll eat it because they can't fool you forever. And you'll take a bite of like a blueberry. I remember when I had my first blueberry of this trip and my first blueberry in Australia, period. Because I've been several times now. And I had my first blueberry and I was like, wow, whoa. It makes you want to strangle someone for keeping the secret of blueberries from you. Everybody walking around all nonchalant. Smiling, acting like the blueberries here aren't good. I see you keeping secrets. You thought you could get it past me? Had a blueberry here and I was like, jeez. What is, oh, wow. Did that thing where you don't want the food to be over. I did that weird thing where, I bought several blueberries. I didn't buy just one blueberry. So it's like, I don't know why I was like Oliver Twisting it, but like it, bought this blueberry and then I was just, I was scared to have another one. Because I was like, what if that was the best blueberry? What if that one was the best though? And then the next one is gonna taste like the ones I'm used to. I had another one, and the other one was crispier. It was tighter. Because this is the thing. This is what's crazy that you take for granted. Y'all put your produce out when it's like ready. Don't let the U.S., anyone in the U.S. but me, I'm the only one your secret is safe with. Don't let them come over here and find out that you put out the avocado when it's ready. That's not what's happening in the U.S. I'll tell you about it in a second. But the blueberry, it was tight. It fought me a little. I put blueberry in my mouth and tried to start chewing. Blueberry over here being coy. It was like, No. What are you doing? Okay. That's not what's happening. In the U.S., you have a blueberry, and it is blueberry shaped. They play a mean game. It's blueberry shaped. It's even, you pick it up, it's even blueberry weight, and then you pop it in your mouth and you start chewing, and you're like, this is a nipple. There's no way that it has no give to it. I'm still chewing. This is crazy. The avocados here. The fact that you can buy it and say you could, you could eat it that day. You could not. You could save a day. In the U.S., we do a thing with our avocados where we put them out as if they're gonna be food. And then it's a lottery that you can't possibly win of which avocado will be a ripe avocado. Because there are some avocados where you feel it and you're like, okay. And then there's the little test you can do. Like, if you press, just give it a little bit of push with your thumb. And if it pushes too easy, it's a little bit overripe. And if it has no push, then you might as well give it a year. I've had a couple of avocados here where I can admit they were a little tough, but still they were like ready. It was like they were put out with some sort of care. But the avocados in the U.S., you buy one, and you're like, I like to gamble. Let's play. And then you bring it home, and one of two things happens. Either you cut it with a knife, and you open it up, and you know how it has the seed in the middle. It will all be as hard as the seed, the whole seed. In fact, the first time I bought avocado in the U.S., I was like,
I was living on my own, and there were a bunch of foods and a bunch of produce that I had never tried until I was out on my own, right? And so I remember buying an avocado and bringing it back and trying to cut into this avocado. You would think I was cutting the kitchen counter because it not only did it have like no give to it, but by the time I was done, I had actually cut through the whole avocado because the whole avocado was as tough as the seed. Or the second thing will happen. The second thing, which is you bring the avocado home, you put it on the counter, and it disintegrates in front of you. It gets so soft in front of you that you go to cut it, and it's like, no need, and it opens up. And you see a tiny demon's face. A little whisper of vapor goes up. And you lost. No, never take for granted the food that you have. This is real food. Like I couldn't understand. I can understand being vegan in the U.S. because you probably should. Like I can understand being vegan in the U.S. because like being vegan in the U.S. is like a self-preservation because they're telling you. Sometimes they'll tell you. Oh, we've actually loosened a bunch of regulations around what we can feed the animal. So, for instance, in the U.S., there are some pigs that are straight up fed sawdust to stretch the food that they are fed. So it's like sawdust, they cut it with whatever they're feeding them. So then when you eat it, you're like, oh, there's no wonder it tastes like splinters, you know? And here, y'all are like, oh, no, we should eat quality meat. And that quality meat, I have not been to a farm in Australia, but I've passed a couple, and it looks like a good life. I feel like it'd be very hard to be vegan here because you're eating good meat. This is very good meat, but all this meat has a story. Every burger could have its own, like, Babe trilogy. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you eat good meat and it's treated well. It tastes good because it was good. That was a good dude that you... Oh, he was courageous. He was good to his friends and everything. That's why meat's so supple, you know? In America, you're like, no, I could tell this meat also, it not only did it have a hard life, but it probably wasn't a good person either. Like this is, you can tell this chicken was racist or whatever. I mean, like, something. Even the animals has been an adjustment. I'm sure so many people come and visit and talk to you about like, oh, your animals. It's all terrifying. How do you do it? How do you get by with the fact that like everything can kill you? Y'all just don't care, you know. And it is weird what is after you here, you know. Like I saw a spider here. Don't do that. Don't do that. I saw a spider and it's crazy. This is backwards, by the way. Every science book in the US that I've read, or fairy tale I've read, goes the opposite of how it goes here. Because y'all's biggest spider that has like personality. Your biggest spider that's over here just floating in front of you and legs open. I don't know if this actually happened or if it happened out of fear in my head that I was filling in the blanks and stuff like that, but I could swear I heard it. It was in front of me like... Yeah, I mean, like it had a chuckle like an uncle. You know? That one you don't need to worry about. Y'all will walk up to that one, let it crawl in your hand, open the door, and toss it out. That's crazy. I need to understand how opposite of every law of human fear that goes against. Meanwhile, the smallest, the tiniest, not even worth mentioning. Little, you could barely see it. That's the one that bites you and you explode. You. I've watched it happen. I was watching this nature documentary, and this dude. It's funny because maybe it wasn't a nature. Actually, okay. To be fair, that was, I don't know. It was probably, I don't know if racist is the right word, but it was probably bigoted of me to be watching this Australian guy talking and see spiders and assume it was a nature documentary. He may have just been living his life, but like. There was a huge spider. It was in his face too, and the cameraman was following him, and it caught right up to him because he turned and it was right there, right, and it was over, right, and then he went, and then moved out of the way. They kept walking. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know he was the bravest man that ever lived. And then this is like maybe like 10 minutes later in the doc. He's talking. I don't even remember what he was talking about, but he's talking. And then he goes, ah! They zoom in. He moves out of the way. The tiniest, barely worth mentioning, smallest spider is smeared on the wall, and then the camera goes back to him, and he's like, I was like, this doesn't make any sense at all. This is completely unfair. Oh, this is sad. Even from what I've seen, like this kangaroo situation. Why didn't you warn anybody? Why didn't you tell anybody? Every single kangaroo has been to jail. Every single one of them. Why are y'all acting? Y'all exported the idea of kangaroos like they were just this fun little animal that loved to hop back on its tail and box a little. That was bad on your part. You should take some responsibility for that. I'm not gonna lie. That can't be our fault that we all thought that they all smiled. Like that's every picture of a kangaroo ever. The mom smiling, the little one popping out of the pouch like. Meanwhile, you come to Australia and the kangaroos are over here. Every kangaroo looks at you like you just said something you shouldn't have said about its mother. That's insane. You didn't tell anybody that they had claws. This is... Because y'all love to play these pranks on people who come visit. You love to talk about like drop bears and all this stuff like that. Y'all, forget the drop bear. You already did it with the kangaroo. Americans are going to come over here like, oh, there's one. Give me a high five, throat out. Nobody told us how strong these things were. The first time I even saw a kangaroo that was like real. That was like a, you know what I mean? Like the kangaroo, the way that y'all would see a kangaroo and keep driving. That one of those kangaroos, the first time I ever saw one was the one thing that you let slip. The one video you let slip to the rest of the world. The one. Where that guy, his dog was with the kangaroo. You didn't tell us that kangaroos love drowning dogs. That sounds like an attribute you'd want to get out there. Imagine if America just sent out an animal into the world, like an American like cow, right? An American cow, this is a prime American cow right here. And we just let people come see it. And just never told them details that would be very important to know if you were gonna meet a cow. Imagine if we were like, oh yeah, cow, yeah. You can go pet them if you want. Oh, by the way, they do stand up, so. Just be mindful of that, you know, when you walk up to them and everything. No, this kangaroo's over here. Kangaroos love to drown dogs. As a friend, let me help you with something. I understand that you are used to these wild and dangerous animals, but some aspects of what they like to do are deeply troubling. And so for you to not communicate first that the kangaroo, which we only know through y'all, loves to drown dogs. Do better, all right? Imagine if I had a friend who I was introducing you to, right? This is Stefan. Stefan's my buddy. I think you two will get on great. And then, years later, I'm like, oh, by the way, Stefan loved to drown dogs. I think it would change how you feel about Stefan. But anyway, this kangaroo got the dog. And it's like, oof, what a great day. I'm about to do what I do best. And then this guy walks up, and I didn't know, okay, because of how the video played out, I don't actually know or understand how big this man is. Because he walks up to the kangaroo, and the kangaroo is like, that's odd. Usually people see me do this and they run away. And he walks up, must be his dog, or maybe he just doesn't want to see murder that day. And admittedly, the first video that I saw was on silent, so I don't know if he yelled anything or not, but he definitely had the posture and the shoulders of somebody who might have been yelling, which I didn't know that kangaroos understood English, but yelling, and then kangaroo sort of bows up a little bit, and then you saw it, he punched that kangaroo in the face. Punched the kangaroo in the face, and the kangaroo went. This has never happened to me before. And I'm just saying, like, as a species that boxes, he should have covered. You know what I mean? Like, he should have seen it coming. From memory, it was just a straight left. He should have been able to dodge that. Oh, got all these animals. I got one. This is the other issue that y'all have. I don't know if you can do anything about this, but this is just me noticing, okay? Slight critique. A lot of the animals that you have here that are adorable and love to murder for fun are covered in fur that makes them that much more adorable. So you'll see like a wombat and you'll think, friend? Hey, buddy. hey, how are you? And then also, no one told you. You look at a koala. Once again, y'all just like let stuff slide. That should be the first thing you hear about this animal. You see a koala and you're like, wow, this is the white people panda. This is truly incredible. Look at this adorable animal. Look at it sleeping. Loves bamboo, I think. I don't know. Went to a outdoor, I don't know what you would even call it, because it wasn't like a national park or anything, but we went to this place that had koalas just chilling in the trees, and you could walk by and take a little picture of the koala and keep walking and everything. And I saw this koala turned and looked at me, and I was like, oh. It was like melting my heart, genuinely. I was like, oh. It was like meeting a dry penguin. It was like, oh, it's happening right now. Oh, I've seen it in books, and now it's here. And then as soon as it turned to me, it was like, why? It's the people of Australia. With all of your tourism efforts, and with all of the digital footprint of koalas, did you not warn anyone that animal is a person living under a spell cast by a witch? It's the only way to describe what I heard. But it's just normal. I'll tell you one thing. I used to live in Chicago, and I'll tell you about this night that I had. It's not the whole night. It's more just as one instance where I used to do these open mics all over Chicago. I would go anywhere that there was an open mic, and I would do these like what they would call like mixed open mics as well, where it was like music, comedy, magic. You could do anything. And then I would go to the comedy open mics, and then every once in a while, if it was a storytelling open mic or maybe poetry, I'd ask, like, I would tell them, I would warn them that I was going to do comedy. I wouldn't just act like the whole thing was a poem. And then they would let me up, usually. Every once in a while, it'd be places like, no, we only do this thing, whatever. It's fine. But I remember going to this part of Chicago I had never been to before. And I was still new to the city, so I didn't know my way around or anything. And so I do the open mic. An open mic could last anywhere from an hour to like 4, depending on how many people wanted to go up and how many people were willing to stay and watch the people that were going up. And so I was over here in a part of Chicago I had never been in before, trying to find the train again, because I used my phone on Google Maps to find where the open mic was. But because I walked so long and then took a bus and then walked some more, I had no idea where the train was going to be to get me home. And it was already 1 a.m. And so I was beside myself, because I was like, okay, I got to get up at 5. What have I done to myself? And so I'm looking for the train. I'm walking around and put it into Google Maps, and I'm confused because it's like, it says like this stop has maintenance. So I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta go to the next one. And I'm walking. And as I'm walking, I see this guy that is across the street from me in this abandoned lot. and he's standing in front of a dog, and he's going, "What do you want? What do you want though? Like what is it?" And I've just never seen someone yelling at a dog from a place of divorce. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it wasn't like, what do you want? Like when a baby's crying or something, you're at your wits' end. It was like, I'm done. What do you want? What will make you happy? And anyway, he's like, what do you want? What do you want? And then the dog, this has happened so fast. The dog just zooms towards him and bites his crotch, right? I guess that's what it wanted. And every man in here knows, every man that hopefully will never be in this situation knows, though, that there's no way to effectively defend once bitten. That's it. But it bit him, and so now he's like, ah! He grabs the dog's collar, and they're both just like wiggling around, right? It's a lot of this. And he's screaming, and maybe you're wondering if or when I helped, and I didn't. I didn't help because look, the dog, hopefully that dog only got beef with him. But one thing we know about this dog is it bites crotches. Right now, I'm a street away. The only way I could be safer is if I was at home. Like, why would I get involved? But it was crazy to watch because he's like, oh, we're right? And then right as this dude turns like this, right? There's a car that drives up, jumps the curve a bit, and hits him from behind. Okay? It doesn't hit him that hard. It was already slowing down, but it hits him to where his legs go up. And the dog lets go, the dog runs off, and then a guy gets out of the car and looks exactly like the guy that got bit. Like, he gets out of the car, and I'm like, it's him. It's him not bit. It felt like a moment from a movie about time travel. Where maybe this is what went wrong in that man's life. Maybe he got bit and then he was never able to make it work with the love of his life. Because she was like, I love you, but you bit. We gotta be friends. So then he went back in time, got a car that decent. It was like, I don't know, looked like Kia Sorento or something like that. But then drives up and it's like, oh wait, I focused so much on the time travel that I didn't plan for this moment, what I would do, and I'm late too, because I was supposed to catch myself before I got bit, but now I'm being bit. Maybe the only thing to do, maybe the only thing that will break that dog's grip is if I hit myself with that car. And so he hit himself from behind with the car, and then the dog let go, mission accomplished, I guess. Clearly what actually happened is that guy had a twin. That has to be it. But even then, even a twin, why would they hit you with the car? Maybe they're not close. I don't know. The entire reason I told you this, the whole reason I told you everything I told you is because in that moment, being across the street, seeing this thing happen, which took like 0.5 seconds. Like, I swear I saw him, what do you want? Boom, right? Like, it all happened together. Maybe his brother was already coming to pick him up, and the dog, maybe he didn't know the dog. Maybe his brother was always gonna hit him with the car. I have no idea. The whole reason I'm telling you this is that being a spectator on the other side of the street from that thing must be what it's like to be an Australian watching America Because just like me, it's not like y'all are coming over to help or anything. And also, just like me, you're like more confused than you clearly are concerned. For you, it's like a show. You're going home. This is entertaining. I'm the guy in the middle. Like, what do you want? Ah, boom. That's your show. That's my life. That's what life is like. I don't know if you've been keeping up. Why would you? Why would you if you didn't have to? If you didn't have to. I know that you keep up because y'all know about the world and stuff. Y'all have like genuine interest in other countries and people and everything. But I just wow. If we knew you were watching. Now, because I came here, I watched some of your news thinking, all right, look, nobody's perfect. Let's get some dirt on Australia. I watched plenty, and wow, this is. What are you doing over here? You know what I mean? Like some of the things that make it into the news, I'm like, this is an email. This is. Like every country has its problems, don't get me wrong. Like every country has its problems, its tragedies and everything. I'm not saying nothing happens or that there aren't issues. I'm just saying that most of what is put out there to stay in the know you gotta understand, it's almost like speaking a different language because I will read the news here and it'll be like, Kath doesn't like shopping. She hates going to the grocery. So she's already planned all her 2026 meals. Meanwhile, in the U.S., our local news, not a national story, local news will be man set on fire by man on fire. With hug. This is crazy, yeah. No, this is very bad. In case you're not aware, our president, he is definitely now, as one could infer without any doubt, with complete certainty, in at least every other page of the Epstein files. Like it's so bad. This is very bad. I know it's hard for you to relate because over here, if someone was like in something that doesn't even rise to the level of the Epstein files, right? Like y'all kick people out for like missing a comma in a memo. Like it's, y'all like, this is unbecoming. This is. Meanwhile, in the U.S., okay, so the Epstein files, in case you're not aware, there was a dude named Jeffrey Epstein who was. No, some people don't know. Some people. No, for real, especially here. Some people don't know. Some people, like, I know that as a country, y'all keep up with the goings on of other countries and everything, but I'm telling some individual people here will not know. Kath doesn't know. There's no way that Kath knows about the Epstein files. I refuse to believe that we live in a world where Kath is up on all current events in the U.S., but just hates grocery shopping so much. She need all her time to plan all of her meals for 2026, a year that just started, a year that's barely unfolded. Okay, in case you're not aware, Jeffrey Epstein is a horrible person, criminal, the devil, basically the devil, and was leading, or at least the biggest part of this trafficking ring, this cabal of deviants that moved with sort of impunity. He had an island, a lot of bad, horrific things went down there, and he was also, without doubt, Jeffrey Epstein was also, without a doubt, one could not just infer, but pretty much say with real conviction that he was Donald Trump's best friend, like his best friend ever, like BFF, FFFFFFFFF, all the F's, BFF, forever and ever. Is very bad. It's bad. And so they have been fighting. And when I say they, I mean like the House Oversight Committee, I mean Democrats, I mean generally people in the public of the U.S. have been fighting to get the Epstein files released. In fact, ironically enough, Donald Trump ran on being someone who would release the Epstein files. Now, he did not say those things specifically. The people around him were talking about how he was going to be the most transparent president of all time, and he would release things like the Epstein files because there was a big push to get people energized around something that could be controlled, like a sort of narrative, and then that could get people out and voting, and then maybe they would just do away with it whenever the time called for it. But what they didn't account for is that people actually care if there are billionaires running around all over the world doing like a trafficking ring. And so, I know, who knew? And so even though part of his platform was being the type of person that would release everything, as soon as he's in office and they're actually talking about releasing it, everybody's like, uh-oh, that's basically his diary. Like, we can't just... And so Trump fights it for months. I mean, the House is like kind of closed over it for a while. They're actually reps that they won't swear in because they don't want to have the votes. I'm saying this, the Republicans don't want the actual votes to be had for the release of the files. Finally, that happens, though. Finally, they vote on a Transparency Act that would release the Epstein files, and it gets passed off from the House to the Senate, and then the president has to sign. So it gets passed to the Senate. The Senate actually, crazy enough, signed it so fast, I don't even know if it touched the desk. Like it just sort of floated in the room like a cartoon piece of paper, and then it landed on Trump's desk, and Trump gotta sign it. He has to sign it, because if he doesn't sign it, it sort of stops with him, and it makes him look super guilty. And he already looks very guilty. He already looks really guilty because, okay, I'll back up for a second. Remember what I said about like you eating McDonald's in the US and it not being food. It's like not food. You know what I mean? And then you eat it and then you're like, ooh, I feel terrible. I feel like somebody fought me in me. Like it's crazy. And then you have to go to the bathroom, and then your whole body is like, we're never doing this again. But then you do, because it's addictive. And I know that like McDonald's here is not the same as McDonald's in the U.S. I know that because admittedly I've had some, and it doesn't do that to you. Like you actually, I bit the food like it was gonna do it. I was like. But then I heard, and I know it's a rumor. I know it's a rumor. There's nothing that confirms it. But I got nervous because I ate McDonald's here. And I heard about Scott Morrison, right? And I was like, oh no, maybe it's not different. Maybe, because that's exactly what happens in the US. But anyway, Trump was over here trying to stop the Epstein files from, coming out through word of mouth, through hitting up people in private conversations and everything. And then it finally lands on his desk. He's got to sign it. He's done a very bad job of looking like he has nothing to do with it, mainly because he's basically been screaming over and over, I don't have anything to do with it. Like, that's not... It makes you seem very guilty. So he signs it. So then the Department of Justice, which if you visit the U.S. and you are talking about the Department of Justice, you are allowed to go, Department of Justice? Like, you can... Because we aren't even sure. So then the Department of Justice had 30 days to release the Epstein files, which is crazy. Like, this is crazy. This thing that we thought would never see the light of day is supposed to come out by law, by the law that the president signed in 30 days. And so then they waited until the last day. And they said they released it early, but by 10 minutes of the deadline at midnight. But they release it, and the head of the Department of Justice comes out and it's like, there's actually so many files that we can't even release them all today, which is against the law, because the law was for all of them. But we can't even release them today. We're going to release some today, and some tomorrow, and then some in the spring. They really tried to release the Epstein files like a season of Stranger Things. It's insane. And then, never mind the fact that as they're trying to redact all this stuff, which is what was happening, the holdup was that they were trying to redact anything with Trump's name in it, or maybe people in the party that would look bad for them. They're still in office and everything, so they're doing all this redacting. So when they finally release the files, a lot of it is redacted to the degree which is just ridiculous. It'll be like a picture on a page and the whole page is black, but the whole thing was transparency. You have to tell us what's in there, and you have what's in there. But then they did a bad job of redacting. They did such a bad job redacting that some of the stuff with Trump's name on it got through. And then they tried to redact it the next day, but that's not how redacting works. We know now. You showed us. In fact, they did such a bad job redacting, because this is what happened as well. There were so many files that they actually begged people to work overtime for a month and a half leading up to what was supposed to be the release, so that way they could redact enough and make sure they were all squared away, so when they released it, they released everything. But that didn't happen because there weren't enough hours in each day leading up to the release. I need to be clear about something. There were not enough hours for the entire team of people that they had redacting. Do you know how bad things must be if there are not enough hours in a month for a team of people to blacken out enough things to exonerate the president? Anyway, they finally released it, and they did such a bad job of redacting that some of the files were redacted in Word. And so they basically copy and paste to a Word document, highlighted it in black, and then put it back for the... So if you were to copy and paste some of the Epstein files into Word and unhighlight it, you could read what the Department of Justice was trying to redact. Which is so wholly embarrassing as a country. And it's all because Trump has done such a bad job of trying to cover up that he's not in the Epstein files. Scott Morrison did a better job. Imagine if Scott Morrison was over here. I was never at McDonald's. You'd be like, oh, it definitely happened then. Why is he screaming? Yes, it happened. It's so embarrassing because it's to redact stuff we know. That was his best friend. It would be like trying to redact any relationship between peanut butter and jelly. I know y'all. I know y'all don't roll with peanut butter and jelly like that. I know that. I know y'all are like, that's not food, but like it. But to us it is. I mean, you know what I'm scared of? I'm actually terrified for you if y'all started eating peanut butter and jelly, because it would be real peanuts. It'd be jelly from like a fruit. And I don't know if any one man is ready for all that power. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But this is bad. It's about as bad as getting bit in the crotch and then hit by a car. And a whole country of people just watching. Because I will say that there are people, I know there's like murmurings and there's attempts and there's the schools of thought here that would like to bring more of what America does. I'm just telling you what I've heard and what I've seen, and I'm just saying, as someone who lives there, don't. I am begging you, don't do it, all right? Because look, I understand every country is gonna have its problems, and every place is gonna have things that feel like they can be solved by taking a piece of what another place is doing. But in those moments, you really gotta look at the bigger picture. What is life like for people here? What is life like for people in the US, you know? Once again, you take it for granted. You eat food. You eat food, and there's a general belief system that seems to, from the people that I've talked to of differing opinions, both Aussies in the US and Australian citizens here, there is this general attitude, general mindset of the things that a government, a country owes its people. And those things are, I think they're a big part of why this is a great place to live. And I think that tossing them to the side for a little bit more of what America has, which is, I will say, a game. America has a game. You can play this game, and you can walk away with nothing, or you can walk away with millions. Spoiler alert, you won't walk away with millions. But the belief that you might walk away with millions allows you to give up things consistently. Give up your privacy, give up your data, give up your rights, give up the things that are owed to you by your country, by your government, as a taxpayer and as a citizen. And that's something I would never want to see happen here. There are beautiful things in the US. I'm not just trashing the US all over the world. I'm just being very honest about it. But I just see people who have a genuine belief in what seems like an understanding of what it takes to take care of their neighbor. And when you take care of your neighbor, then eventually you are taking care of your country. You know, I understand there are things that I can't understand about living here. I'm not acting like I know the ins and outs of liberal versus labor or anything. I just know that when it comes to a quality of life, value for money and being valued by your country as a citizen, there are a lot of things that you are doing right. I understand that you strive for more, and you should. You should keep fighting for the best possible world to live in, the best country to live in, nonstop, all the time. It doesn't mean that you can just pat yourself on the back and quit. It just means that what you're doing is working, whether you know it or not. Traveling opens your eyes to how people are living in different parts of the world. And I'm telling you, as someone who has started traveling and doesn't want to stop, I'm seeing all the ins and outs of places, and yes, what they may be lacking, but what they're really doing right. And I'm telling you, when I meet people, when I talk to people, for all of its problems and for all the things that I hope get better about living here, with living here, you're doing a lot right. A whole lot. And you can tell that you're doing a whole lot right because Kath is in the news. Melvin, y'all been amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming out.
Mira.